The network AMC has dropped a cryptic teaser on social media that is being reported to be teasing the imminent announcement of a television deal with Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. We've got all of the details on that, plus so much more in this news update. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling and some big developments when it comes to an impending brand new media rights deal for Total Nonstop Action, which could mean that their flagship broadcast show, TNA Impact, gets seen by many more eyeballs than their current television deal allows them to. Let's get straight into this massive development and this major story for TNA Wrestling. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Now, we know that TNA Wrestling will have a new home in 2026, and all signs are now pointing to it being AMC. Now, if you are familiar and if you followed this story, last month, the takedown on SI reported by John Alba that AMC had emerged as a contender for TNA's media rights. The company had been shopping its programming to different networks throughout 2025, with the expectation within the television industry being that a new deal would be announced by the end of the year. Late last night, on Monday night, AMC's official social media channels, which you can see the post in question right there on the screen, posted a teaser featuring a live crowd cheering alongside text that read 1/15/26. Now, this date would align with a January 15th, a date that TNA Impact would presumably air in its regular Thursday night time slot. Now, while the social tease strongly hints at it, we do have some more details about this because according to the takedown on SI and John Alba, several sources across both television and wrestling industries indicated to the takedown on SI that the belief is that TNA's programming, at least in part, but possibly in full, is heading to the AMC networks. Following the takedown on SI's November reports about AMC surfacing as a contender for the TNA media rights, more than a handful of TNA talent across all levels of the card spoke with the takedown and indicated that promotional material for 2026 was in the process of being filmed and put together. Several of them outright noted that they were of the belief that the material would be for AMC, though not all were sure of it. Now, TNA President Carlos Silva has previously told the Takedown and other media outlets that the promotion was hoping to have media rights locked down and announced for 2026 by Bound for Glory, though AMC's name began to surface internally within the company and TV industry around that time instead. Now, when speaking to the Takedown over the summer, Carlos Silva, TNA's president, indicated that he and Creative Artists Agency, CAA, believed TNA's media rights were valued between $7 million and $10 million. Now, several WWE-affiliated networks were thought to have been involved in exploring making a bid for TNA programming, and sources said at the time there was even openness from certain parties involved to explore moving to Wednesday to oppose AEW if the right deal came along. Now, it's not known at this time if the company managed to secure the numbers it sought for a deal. It is also unclear if additional live programming would be added under the terms of a new agreement. Now, AMC is traditionally known for its lineage of hit dramas such as Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead. It has never aired pro wrestling, nor have its sister stations BBC America, IFC, Sundance TV, or WeTV. The AMC networks are majority owned by James Dolan's family, as he also oversees Madison Square Garden Sports, Madison Square Garden Entertainment, the MSG Network, and the daily operations of the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers. Additionally, AMC Network supports several streaming services, including AMC Plus. TNA, of course, has its own subscription service, TNA Plus, that currently airs TNA programming. It is not clear whether or not its shows would stay there or shift entirely to the AMC networks. Again, we're working without an official announcement just yet. Now, as was noted previously, industry experts estimate AMC's flagship network to have a reach of around 60 million homes, which is likely more than double what TNA's current reach is with Access TV. That particular network is owned by Anthem Sports and Entertainment, of course, TNA's parent company. Now, TNA also receives additional audience reach through its partnership with WWE, which frequently sees TNA talent featured on WWE NXT on the CW, and occasionally WWE's main roster programming as well. Current WWE NXT star and former TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordynne Grace even posted to X in response to the AMC announcement, all but confirming the news. Now, as of the time of recording this video, TNA has events announced through this week in El Paso, Texas, as well as a generic announcement for the Genesis pay-per-view in January in Dallas. No date has been listed for the show as of yet, nor have TV tapings been announced. It is likely the debut, teased to be January 15th, would be in line with the lead-up to the Genesis show. So that was coming from John Alba. Another bit of an update comes from Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp, saying that he would expect an announcement of TNA's television deal as soon as today, that being Tuesday, the 2nd of December. There is a talent call, according to Sapp, scheduled on early Tuesday, which is expected to address it, and the announcement could be straight after that. So, of course, if we get any details on this announcement, when it's expected, when it happens, we'll have a reaction to it. We'll let you know the details, the press release, any financials we can find out, and much more. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Now let's get to last night's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw, and a major championship match has already been set for Raw in 2026. That is because Bron Breakker will challenge CM Punk for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the January 5th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Paul Heyman made the announcement last night on Monday's post-Survivor Series edition of WWE Monday Night Raw. In his promo, Breakker said he was upset that it was so easy to pin Punk at War Games and that Punk is a soft-ass bitch. He said that Punk is no different than Seth Rollins, who needs to be more concerned about Becky Lynch being a bigger star than him. Breakker said that Punk tried to break his neck at War Games, so now he's going to ruin his life and career. Breakker also told a story of Punk seeing him backstage at WrestleMania 41 and saying, "Congratulations, let's see if you can cut a promo with the big dogs now." Breakker said, "Consider the promo cut," and that Punk would be looking up at the lights as they announce him as the new champion on January 5th. Now, speaking of Punk, according to WWE, he's not cleared to compete following the War Games match at Survivor Series on Saturday. WWE announcer Joe Tessitore announced that Punk is not cleared coming out of War Games at WWE Survivor Series. The announcement came after a recap of CM Punk's rivalry with John Cena. Punk, of course, is the reigning WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He took the pinfall in the match after getting hit with a stomp by a masked man and a spear by Bron Breakker. Paul Heyman said on Raw he had no idea about the masked man and he had nothing to do with it. We'll have to wait and see if that really is the case. Now, it's unknown when Punk will be cleared for competition. Of course, if we get any more details, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, the finals are set for the Last Time Is Now tournament. They will be featuring LA Knight. LA Knight with a major victory last night on Monday Night Raw, and he has moved one step closer to facing John Cena in Cena's retirement match next week at Saturday night's main event. Following a heated promo in the women's division, Raw kicked off last night with a huge semi-final match in the Last Time Is Now tournament as LA Knight took on Jey Uso. In the final stages of the match, which you can see on the screen right there, Uso nearly had the victory locked up as he took out LA Knight with a super kick, a spear, and a top rope splash, which you can see right there on the screen. Knight barely managed to kick out, trapping Uso in a crucifix pin, which you'll see him roll through in just a second right there, and he scored the quick pinfall victory, a major one for the former United States champion. With this victory, Knight moves on to the final. We'll talk about who we'll just be facing in just a second. The finals bout will be set, will take place on the December 5th episode of SmackDown, which is this coming Friday. The winner of that, of course, will face John Cena in his retirement match at Saturday night's main event on December 13th. Now, post-match, Jey Uso was not too happy as he completely trashed the ringside area. We'll have to see what's next for the former World Heavyweight Champion. But we know who LA Knight is going to be facing in the finals. It's going to be Gunther. with the ring general defeating Solo Sikoa last night on Raw. As the December 1st episode of Raw started to wind down, Gunther and Solo Sikoa faced one another in a semi-final match in the Last Time Is Now tournament. As expected, the ring general was able to pick up the victory over Sikoa despite the involvement of Tala Tonga. Specifically, near the end of the bout, Tonga pulled Gunther out of the ring near the end of the match. He held Gunther in place for Solo Sikoa, who was on the brink of attempting a Samoan spike before being stopped by the referee. The ring general escaped from Tonga's grasp and threw Sikoa back inside the squared circle. While the referee still had his back turned to Tonga, Gunther kicked Sikoa in the groin. Moments later, Gunther capitalized by nailing Sikoa with a powerbomb to win the match. With the win, the former multi-time champion will face LA Knight in the finals of the Last Time Is Now tournament, which will take place on Friday's episode of WWE SmackDown. The World Tag Team titles were on the line last night on WWE Monday Night Raw, and AJ Styles and Dragon Lee retained their gold. After weeks of complaining and pandering, the New Day finally got the chance to challenge for Tag Team gold on the December 1st episode of Raw, as they faced Dragon Lee and AJ Styles for the World Tag Team Championships. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods did not back up their fighting words, as Lee and Styles came out with a huge victory. Styles pinned Kingston after planting him with a mid-air Styles clash. With the win, Styles and Lee's reign with the World Tag Team Championship sits at the 43-day mark. This was their second successful defense of the titles after winning them from Finn Balor and JD McDonough on the October 20th episode of WWE Raw. And they're going to be defending them next week on Monday Night Raw against the War Raiders. Now, first, the World Tag Team Championships will be up for grabs for the second week in a row as Dragon Lee and AJ Styles defend the titles against the War Raiders. This will be Eric and Ivar's first match on Raw since late September. In addition to that, fans will get to hear from the winner of the Last Time Is Now tournament. Of course, as I mentioned several times, Gunther and LA Knight will face off in the finals this coming Friday on SmackDown. Plus, Finn Balor will take on Rey Mysterio in a singles contest. This will be Mysterio's second singles match since returning from an injury hiatus in November. Speaking of returns, Liv Morgan, she's back on WWE Raw after her Survivor Series return, and she says she is back to revive the Judgment Day. Following her big return to WWE at Survivor Series War Games, the Judgment Day welcomed Liv Morgan to the ring on Monday's episode of Raw. Mysterio, Dirty Dom, was quick to celebrate Morgan's presence and the fact she helped him beat John Cena at Survivor Series. Morgan was more blunt about her return, saying that she plans to fix the Judgment Day after being away from the group for months. Morgan criticized the faction's lack of championship gold before stating that they once again run the Raw brand. The promo ended with Morgan slapping Dirty Dom across the face before jumping into his arms. It remains to be seen how they're going to get more gold into the faction moving forward. Now, we saw a rare glimpse of Natty Neidhart on WWE main roster programming last night. Fans got a glimpse at Natty on Raw in a new training vignette. Natalya has been using the character of Natty on the independent scene, a more aggressive and no-nonsense version of herself, but it wasn't until Monday's Raw that WWE fans saw the low-key legend. The training vignette showed Natty training WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Maxine Dupree and repeatedly telling her again and again and again. Now, Dupree has been training on-screen and off-screen with Natalya as she's continued to take on more work inside the squared circle. And she's going to be put to the test when she defends the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Ivy Nile, because Nile will be the first person to challenge Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now, a date for the bout has not yet been made official. Raw General Manager Adam Pearce promised Nile the first match on Monday's WWE Raw after Nile reminded Pearce that Maxine has never defeated her. Pearce said she didn't have to sell him or Maxine on the match, but that Maxine is currently training with Natalya, so he needed to get things in line. So we'll have to wait and see when that match is officially confirmed. Now, we didn't see Becky Lynch on Raw because she's boycotting the show. She is certainly leaning into this new persona very much. Becky Lynch has been wronged many times in her mind over the past few months, from AJ Lee not having a manager's license and interfering in her Women's Intercontinental title match, costing Becky against Maxine Dupree, to referee Jessica Carr somehow being involved in all of her matches despite the clear bias in her mind. Coming off War Games, where Becky was credited with a loss for simply trying to get her team's attention, and Raw General Manager Adam Pearce not returning her calls, Becky is boycotting WWE Raw. She said on social media, quote, in all caps, effective immediately, I, Becky Lynch, the greatest of all time, not just me saying it, will boycott Monday Night Raw until my demands are met. My title is returned to me, side plates included, car is suspended, and an apology is issued. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The post was accompanied by a vlog that documents in full Becky's rights being trampled on. We'll wait and see if indeed she gets a response from anyone within WWE. Last week, we saw the unfortunate injury to Penta during his match against Solo Sikoa in the Last Time Is Now tournament. This happened when he landed awkwardly after a Hurricane Runner off the barricade. His match against Solo Sikoa was stopped by the ringside official. On Monday's WWE Raw, Wade Barrett announced that Penta will be sidelined for an undetermined amount of time. On November 25th, Penta posted the following message to social media. He said, quote, thank you to everyone who has checked in on me. The injury tested my body and spirit, but it also awakened the strength that has always guided me. I am a Mexican warrior, forged in struggle, honor, and heart. And though the fall was hard, I rose with a fire stronger than ever. To my rival, my deepest respect. Thank you for your professionalism and for a clean, dignified battle. I recognize your dedication and honor. I will be back very soon, stronger, more prepared, and determined to finish what I left pending. Thank you for standing with me, because this war still has chapters to be written. Of course, we wish him the best as he recovers from his injury. Now, going over to AEW, and a big segment has been confirmed for Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. AEW World Champion Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston will come face-to-face on Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. Of course, Samoa Joe is set to defend his AEW World Championship against Eddie Kingston at AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming next week on December 10th. So that is now confirmed for Wednesday's episode. Now, Survivor Series, we saw it inside of a stadium this past weekend. Next year's show could also take place inside a stadium. WWE Survivor Series had been an arena show ever since the first edition of the pay-per-view back in 1987, but that changed in 2025 as Survivor Series emanated from San Diego's Petco Park. WWE announced an attendance of over 46,000 for the November 29th event, and WWE may not be done with cementing Survivor Series as a stadium show for the foreseeable future. According to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer, there is already talk within WWE of running another stadium for next year's Survivor Series PLE. Key matches at Survivor Series this year included the men's and women's War Games matches. In addition to that, we saw John Cena's final PLE match and also a women's world title bout. Jacob Fatu, he was reportedly originally scheduled and planned for War Games, but he couldn't compete due to injury, but he may be back on WWE programming, being gone from TV for the past 6 weeks. PW Insider has reported there was talk backstage at Survivor Series on Saturday, November 29th, that Fatu is close to returning to WWE storylines. It is believed he may be back touring with the company again within the next few weeks, although an exact return date has not yet been confirmed. Fatu has been off WWE television since the October 17th episode of Friday Night SmackDown, when he was written off with a backstage attack ahead of a scheduled match with Drew McIntyre. Fatu was found backstage with several teeth on the ground next to him, with the former United States champion taking time off to recover from a legitimate dental procedure. Fatu's injury did have major repercussions for Survivor Series, as him taking time off resulted in Cody Rhodes vs. Drew McIntyre being moved from November 29th to the November 1st edition of Saturday night's main event. This freed up McIntyre and Cody for War Games, and they were both featured in the stipulation match at Survivor Series, while Austin Theory was reportedly omitted from War Games due to McIntyre's involvement. And finally, the date and location for next year's AEW Revolution pay-per-view has now been confirmed via an announcement from All Elite Wrestling. AEW will be bringing one of the company's biggest pay-per-views back to Los Angeles, California in 2026. The Sporting Tribune was the first to break the news Monday that AEW Revolution will return to the Crypto.com arena on Sunday, March 15th, 2026. Quote, it's one of the biggest wrestling shows of the year, AEW President Tony Khan told the Tribune. With AEW, we set a really high standard. We always put on great pay-per-views, and Revolution in particular has such a great reputation for being a tremendous event year in and year out. So you can bet this will be a very worthwhile show. AEW Revolution will be remembered always as the show where Sting had his final professional wrestling match. The Icon and Darby Allin defeated the Young Bucks in an absolutely wild tornado tag team match to retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The event that year, 2024, was held in the historic Greensboro Coliseum in North Carolina. Revolution was held in Los Angeles this year, with Jon Moxley, Adam Copeland, and Christian Cage headlining the show in a battle for the AEW World Championship. So there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.